Okay.
Okay, we're up and running. Um, Thanks again, Commissioner, for joining us today. And first question, how is our agricultural industry holding up this year under this intense heat? One of the hottest and driest on record.
Well, it's extremely hard on livestock. We'll just start with that. Gets up to index with the humidity gets up to 115, 118. The problem is the nights. We're not cooling down at night. It's in the at low 90s, upper 80s. The livestock just can't get cool. So it's really hard. Our milk production is falling off. Feed conversion in our swine, poultry, beef cattle is falling off. But it's also been tough on our row crop farmers, our commodity farmers, cotton, sorghum. Uh, we go from one extreme to other. It was so dry last year, we didn't make much of a cotton crop, especially in West Texas. But now they're flooded out and prevented planting. We got so much rain in Hereford that about 4,000 steers drowned in the feedlot out there. They couldn't get the water pumped off fast enough. So we had a dairy out there catch fire a few months ago and lost 18,000 head in that dairy. So there's no short of adversities or challenges in agriculture, especially with this hot spell we're going through.
Yes, sir. And each and every year, there's something different for farmers to try and battle, and no year's ever perfect. And but they've always been able to make it through. How well do you think this year is going to turn out? We've heard some mixed signals here in our area. A lot of early rain caused them to have to plow up some of that crop that they had planted, and they replanted it. And now it's been too dry and no moisture, so they're not sure if that's going to make it. But how do you feel overall the state's going to make it through as far as maybe some of the totals? Will cattle and cotton have to carry the day, or do you think each individual industry will be able to keep going through, even though we're experiencing this heat wave?
So it looks like we've had a shift in cotton acres. Uh, that changed. The monsoon hit the high plains. They went past. They couldn't get in the field to plant. Those that had planted, a lot of that ran out. So now they're way past the planting date to get crop insurance. So a lot of those acres are going back in grain sorghum. Uh, we have a good market for grain sorghum here in Texas. Of course, in your part of the state, there's a lot of grain sorghum down there, and I know it's struggling under this heat. We've got our first bale of cotton harvested in the valley. Seems awful early, but they always are the very first one. So we've got a cotton crop coming in down there, and they had the only bright spot last year was the valley cotton. They had a really good crop, really good price, but this year the weather has plagued them too. So it's not looking that great.
In Austin, the governor and the state lawmakers have been looking to try and spend some of that billions of dollars we have in surplus. Is there anything agriculture gets out of this? Is there any kind of way to maybe expand our research and development? Not saying it's not expanded. To try and come up with new varieties, new crops. Maybe we could plant new varieties of cotton and sorghum that are maybe both drought and rain tolerant.
Sure, our land grant universities, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Texas A&M Prairie View, Tarleton State University. There's all of that's always going on. Most of the relief for our farmers is going to come through some program from the USDA. They have an emergency loan program if your county's been declared a disaster. You have a livestock indemnity program if you've lost livestock due to some natural disaster. Of course, the main thing we use in agriculture to protect our bottom line is crop insurance. So there'll be, I'm sure, a lot of crops turned in. Try to collect an insurance premium. Uh, you know, plow it up, get ready to plant wheat in September, maybe.
Uh, I heard that you were also a farmer. Do you actually have an active working farm and ranch, and how are you doing?
I do. I don't farm as much as I used to. My current occupation takes up too much of my time, but I've grown peanuts, watermelons, cantaloupes, had the pecan orchards. Still grow hay and have a 120-acre tree farm where we grow shade trees. shade is pretty popular this time of year.
Absolutely. Another thing, I was looking at some of y'all statistics that you have online, and they were from 2017. I didn't see anything updated, but it was saying the average age of a farmer is 59 years old. If that hasn't changed much since 2017, that was 6 years ago. So maybe the average is 60 something now. Are you seeing many people going into the farming business? And I'm assuming it takes quite a bit of money to be able to get the land, the equipment, and the crops and everything else it takes to become a farmer.
The latest numbers show that the average age of the farm and ranch is 59 and a half. So it is creeping up. We know that the greatest natural resource we have in the state of Texas is not oil and gas, it's our youth. So we put a big emphasis on that. We have several programs to get young people involved in the agriculture. We have a young farmer program where we partner 50-50 to help young start. Like you said, it's very, very expensive to get started in agriculture, but we're very active education wise, helping places like the various stock shows raise scholarship money so we can get these kids an agriculture education. It's an ongoing challenge, but we've got to have this younger generation coming along to feed and clothe us and furnish our fuel for us.
And I think we all realize how important agriculture is to us because without it, we would have to grow our own crops and probably couldn't be at our jobs, and we'd be back into the 15th century. Any ideas on how you'd be able to get more water to the farmers and the ranchers? Are there any ways to divert some of the water? And when we go through these droughts, maybe they'll have another avenue without having total crop failures, which we certainly don't want to see.
Well, we're constantly working on that. We have a big problem in the drought of 2011. We were farming about 600,000 acres of rice down in the Katy Prairie in that area down that part of the state. Well, the Colorado River pretty much dried up. The Highland Lakes weren't releasing any water, so we dwindled down to about a little over 100,000 acres of rice. So to address that problem, we have created off-channel storage, and what that is, in high rainfall events, when there is a lot of water coming down those rivers, we divert it off the main channel. We store it for those times when we can't pump out of the river. So that has helped immensely. We're seeing some of our rice acres come back in that Katy Prairie and that part of the state.
Okay. And I was just going to switch gears just a little bit and take off into the clouds. You have a cloud seeding program. I think the state of Texas has been doing since the 60s. And I know we've got an operation that apparently comes out of Pleasanton, which is in between here and San Antonio. Any thoughts about expanding that? Like you said, some of these rivers and water sources are drying up. Is the cloud seeding program something that could be viable to more of the state? It seems like some of the data shows that it works.
Well, it works under certain conditions. The problem is those conditions don't avail themselves often enough. So other things than that, we're working with the fracking industry to use brackish water. You can use desal to clean that up. It doesn't have to be cleaned up as good as drinking water, and it's not near as salty as seawater. Big Springs and El Paso probably for 20 years been doing desalinization out there on this brackish water. So that helps. That relieves some of the pressure on our groundwater, precious groundwater in critical areas of the state.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. If you had anything else you'd like to add, maybe what the future of ag looks like right now. I know this has been a really hot summer, and I don't know if they're going to get any cooler.
Well, parts of the ag sector are looking really good. Beef prices are at an all-time high right now. We're doing good. The commodities have been good. The prices are starting to fall off on them. Our inputs have been extremely high, fertilizer, chemicals. We've seen some of those prices roll back, not to where they were or where they need to be, but at least their inputs aren't quite as high as they have been in the past. So we're just one rain away from a good crop. we're hoping and praying for a couple of good rains for the growing season.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned the cattle again. I was wondering with the cattle numbers, and I think it was a record number of cattle that were sold off last year. Was that because of the weather conditions, or is there that much market for that much more meat right now?
It's a very unusual circumstance. In all my life, I've never seen a sell-off during a drought. I've seen that several times. Usually, when that happens, the price of cattle just drops because we just flood the market with so many cattle, more than it can stand. But this time, when we had to sell off cattle because of the drought and the numbers at the auction barns went up, the prices went up. So that tells me that the prices for beef now are going to be good for a while, at least 18 months to 2 years out. But it takes that long to rebuild the cattle herd.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. Do you have any time ever to come down to the Coastal Bend? You're more than welcome to stop by and say hi.
I do that. I've got some speaking engagements coming up down there, so I need to get down there and look you up.
All right. We look forward to that, and we'll get another interview with you at that time.
Thank you. God bless.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Commissioner Miller. I appreciate it.
Anytime, my friend. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.